Have they ever taken your kindness for weakness? Used your secrets against you? This is your warning. God is angry, and it's time to stop sharing your sacred plans. Chosen one, if you've been feeling like the people around you don't understand your journey or even sabotage your progress, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into a powerful prophetic word about protecting your purpose and why God is calling his chosen ones to guard their secrets. By the end of this video, you'll know why God is telling you to move in silence, exercise discernment, and trust his timing. Before we dive in, like comment 77 foot below to declare your alignment with God's wisdom. Let's get started. Asterisk. The first sign is guard your secrets. Not everyone deserves to know the plans that God has placed in your heart. These plans are sacred, divinely orchestrated, and uniquely tailored to your journey. When you share them prematurely or with the wrong people, you risk exposing your purpose to forces that can derail it. This is not because your dreams lack power, but because others may lack the vision, understanding, or alignment to handle what God is doing in your life. Their doubt, negativity, or jealousy can cast shadows on the light that God is trying to shine through you. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was given powerful dreams from God, dreams of greatness, authority, and purpose. But when he shared these visions with his brothers, their hearts weren't ready to receive them. Instead of celebrating him, they became envious and plotted to destroy him. Genesis 37. What should have been a moment of encouragement and unity turned into betrayal. This story isn't just about Joseph. It's about the danger of sharing your God-given dreams with those who aren't equipped to understand them. God's anger in moments like these isn't directed at you. It's directed at the forces that try to undermine the divine work he's doing in you. Guarding your secrets is an act of wisdom, not fear. When God plants a vision in your heart, it's like planting a seed. That seed needs time to grow, to take root, and to be nurtured in the safety of the soil before it can withstand the elements. If you expose it too soon, it risks being trampled on or uprooted by those who can't see its potential. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. There is a time to sow, a time to grow, and only then a time to show." Rushing this process is like pulling a flower out of the ground before it has a chance to bloom. The challenge of guarding your secrets is that it can feel isolating. You may want to share your excitement with others, to have someone validate what God is doing in your life. But remember, validation from people is not what sustains your purpose. God's affirmation does. When you seek approval or input from others, you open the door for their doubts and insecurities to seep into your vision. This is why Proverbs 4 verse 23 is so critical. "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Protecting your heart means being selective about who you allow to speak into your life and your dreams. In practical terms, this means being discerning about your circle. Ask yourself, are the people you're sharing with aligned with God's purpose for your life? Do they encourage you in faith, or do they plant seeds of doubt? Are they willing to pray for you and support you, or do they see your dreams as competition or foolishness? Remember, Jesus himself was selective about who he shared his deepest truths with. While he preached to the multitudes, he revealed the mysteries of the kingdom only to his disciples. Mark 4 verse 11. Even among the disciples, he often took Peter, James, and John aside for the most intimate moments of his ministry. This isn't exclusion, it's wisdom. Guarding your secrets also means knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. It's a powerful form of obedience. When Nehemiah was rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, he didn't announce his plans to everyone. In Nehemiah 2 verse 12, he said, "And I arose in the night, I and some few men with me. Neither told I any man what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem." He understood that the vision God had given him needed to be protected until the time was right. By moving in silence, Nehemiah avoided unnecessary opposition and distractions, allowing him to focus on the work God had called him to do. In today's world, this principle is even more relevant. With the rise of social media, it's tempting to share every step of your journey, every idea, and every plan. But remember, not everyone watching you is rooting for you. Some are there to observe, to criticize, or to wait for your downfall. This isn't to breed paranoia, but to encourage wisdom. There's a reason Jesus told his followers to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Matthew 10 verse 16. Guarding your secrets is an act of spiritual maturity, a way of saying, I trust God to reveal my purpose at the right time, in the right way. When you guard your secrets, you also guard your energy. Sharing too much can leave you vulnerable to unnecessary stress and negativity. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying the weight of other people's opinions, doubts, or judgments. It's exhausting and distracting, but when you keep your focus on God and His guidance, you lighten your load and strengthen your resolve. This doesn't mean you walk alone. God will place the right people in your life to support and uplift you. But until those people are revealed, trust Him to be your confidant and guide. Guarding your secrets isn't just about self-protection. It's about honoring God. When you keep your plans between you and Him, you show that you trust Him to bring them to fruition. You demonstrate faith in His timing and His ability to open the right doors. And when the time comes to share your testimony, it will be clear to everyone that it was God, not people, who brought you to where you are. If you feel God calling you to guard your dreams, comment "guard" below. This is your declaration that you are ready to trust God with your vision, to protect the sacred work He's doing in your life, and to wait patiently for His perfect timing. Stay with me, because the next sign reveals another powerful truth about protecting your purpose. It's time to move in wisdom and step boldly into the destiny God has prepared for you. Let's keep going. The second sign is silence is protection. Silence is one of the most underrated yet powerful tools for those who are walking in alignment with God's purpose. It is not the silence of passivity, nor is it born out of fear. It is a deliberate choice to protect what God is building in your life. When you choose silence, you create a sacred space where His work can flourish, untouched by the noise and interference of the outside world. This isn't about isolation. It's about wisdom. Proverbs 17 verse 28 reminds us, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. Silence, in its truest form, is not weakness, it is strategy. There is something deeply sacred about keeping your plans between you and God. When you remain silent about what He is doing in your life, you allow Him to be the primary architect of your future. Silence acts as a shield, protecting your dreams from the opinions, judgments, and doubts of others. The truth is, not everyone around you is ready to hear about your purpose. Some may misunderstand it, while others may actively try to undermine it. This is why silence is so important. It ensures that the seeds God has planted in you are given the time and space to grow before they are exposed to the elements. Consider the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus. When the angel Gabriel revealed to her that she would conceive the Savior, Mary didn't run to tell the world. Instead, she treasured these things in her heart and pondered them quietly. Luke 2 verse 19. Her silence wasn't about secrecy for its own sake. It was about preserving the sanctity of what God was doing in her life. She understood that some moments are too sacred to be shared prematurely. This same principle applies to your life. There are things God is working on in you that are not meant to be announced or explained. They are meant to be nurtured in quiet obedience until the appointed time. Silence is also a form of spiritual protection. When you speak too soon, you risk opening the door to unnecessary battles. Words have power, and when you share your plans, you invite others to speak into them, both positively and negatively. While encouragement can be uplifting, negativity can plant seeds of doubt and fear. Even well-meaning advice can sometimes pull you away from God's direction. This is why Proverbs 13 verse 3 warns, He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. By choosing silence, you guard your heart and mind against these distractions and ensure that your focus remains on God. It's natural to want to share your excitement with others, especially when God is doing something incredible in your life. But not everyone is equipped to understand your journey. Some may view your silence as a lack of confidence or ambition, but remember, their opinions do not define you. Silence is not about hiding, it's about honoring. It's about saying, God, I trust you to reveal my purpose at the right time, in the right way. This quiet trust is an act of faith, a declaration that you believe in His plan more than your need for validation. Moving in silence also strengthens your relationship with God. When you're not constantly explaining or defending your plans to others, you have more energy to focus on what truly matters, your connection with Him. In the stillness of silence, you can hear His voice more clearly. Psalm 46 verse 10 invites us to be still and know that I am God. That stillness is where transformation happens, where clarity is found, and where God equips you for the next step of your journey. The challenges of silence are real. It can feel lonely at times, especially when you see others sharing their successes and receiving recognition. But remember, your path is unique, and your timeline is not meant to look like anyone else's. Think of a sculptor working on a masterpiece. The process is slow, deliberate, and often hidden from view. But when the work is complete, the result speaks for itself. Your silence is part of God's process. It's the space where He chisels away what doesn't belong and shapes you into the person He created you to be. Silence is also a tool for discerning who is truly for you. When you don't broadcast your plans, you get to see who supports you without needing to know the details. These are the people God has placed in your life to walk with you. On the other hand, those who only show interest when they can gain something from you will often fade away when they are kept out of the loop. Silence reveals the true intentions of those around you, allowing you to align yourself with people who are spiritually aligned with your purpose. In the larger cosmic plan, silence is a reminder that your journey is not about proving anything to the world. It's about fulfilling the purpose God has placed on your life. The world celebrates noise, constant updates, announcements, and proclamations. But God often works in the quiet. His greatest miracles often begin in hidden places. A baby in a manger, a prayer in a garden, a stone rolled away from an empty tomb. Your silence aligns you with this divine rhythm, where the most powerful movements happen not with fanfare, but with faith. If you're ready to protect your peace and purpose through quiet obedience, comment silence below. Let this be your declaration that you are choosing wisdom over noise, faith over validation, and trust over explanation. The next signs reveal even deeper truths about why God is calling you to guard your heart and trust His timing. They will open your eyes to the dangers of sharing too much too soon. But before we continue, activate all notifications so you never miss these life-changing messages. Let's continue. The third sign is beware of envy and misalignment. Not everyone can handle your divine purpose, and that's a truth we often learn the hard way. Sharing your dreams and plans too openly or with the wrong people can invite envy and misalignment that you never saw coming. It's not always their words or actions. It's the energy, the subtle shift in how they see you, that can create stumbling blocks. You may not notice it at first because the surface interactions might still feel supportive, but behind the smiles, their hearts might harbor jealousy or doubt. This is one of the most dangerous threats to a chosen one's journey, and it's why discernment is so critical. When Jesus said, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine," Matthew 7 verse 6, He wasn't speaking to offend. He was speaking to protect. Pearls, much like your God-given dreams, are treasures. They are formed through pressure, growth, and time, and they hold immense value. But when pearls are thrown to swine, they aren't appreciated. They're trampled underfoot, treated as worthless by those who can't recognize their worth. Your purpose is not for everyone to understand, and it's certainly not for everyone to affirm. Some people, intentionally or not, can diminish the sacredness of what God is doing in your life simply because they don't see it as God does. Let's look at a lesser-known biblical example, King Hezekiah. In 2 Kings 20, after God healed Hezekiah and granted him more years of life, he made a critical mistake. He showed Babylonian envoys all the treasures in his storehouses, his silver, gold, spices, and armory. He shared everything. The problem? These envoys were not allies. They were potential threats. This act of oversharing ultimately led to Babylon's desire to conquer Jerusalem and take what they had seen. Hezekiah's lack of discretion brought consequences not only for himself but for his kingdom. The lesson is clear. Not everyone is meant to see the fullness of what God has entrusted to you. Some may use that knowledge to harm you or derail what God is building. Envy is subtle, but its effects are powerful. Someone who harbors envy toward you doesn't have to outwardly attack you to harm your journey. Their energy, their doubts, and their inability to celebrate your growth can create spiritual resistance. This isn't to make you paranoid, it's to make you vigilant. Envy has a way of infecting spaces where trust once thrived, turning encouragement into passive aggressiveness or outright sabotage. This is why Proverbs 14 verse 30 warns, "A sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of the bones." When you sense envy in others, it's a signal to step back, set boundaries, and protect your purpose. Misalignment is just as dangerous as envy, though often more difficult to detect. Misalignment happens when you share your vision with someone who, while perhaps well-meaning, is not spiritually in sync with your purpose. They might offer advice that sounds logical but pulls you away from God's direction. They might encourage you to take shortcuts or to compromise your values, not out of malice, but because they don't see what God has shown you. Consider Peter's reaction when Jesus spoke about his coming crucifixion. Out of love, Peter rebuked him, saying, "Be it far from thee, Lord. This shall not be unto thee." Matthew 16 verse 22. Peter's intentions were good, but his understanding was misaligned with God's plan. Jesus responded, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me." Matthew 16 verse 23. Even those closest to you can become obstacles if their perspective doesn't align with God's will for your life. In today's world, misalignment often comes in the form of unsolicited opinions. Social media amplifies this dynamic, making it easy for people to comment on your journey without understanding the depth of what God is doing. While some feedback can be constructive, much of it can be noise that distracts or discourages you. This is why silence and discretion are so valuable. By keeping your plans between you and God, you create a space where His voice is the loudest. Isaiah 30 verse 21 says, "And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it." That clarity comes when you prioritize God's guidance over the opinions of others. Guarding your purpose from envy and misalignment is not just about self-preservation. It's about stewardship. God has entrusted you with a mission, a dream, a calling that is uniquely yours. When you protect it, you honor Him. It's like building a house. You wouldn't leave the doors wide open while the foundation is still being laid. You would secure the space, ensuring that nothing disrupts the process. Your dreams are no different. They need time to grow, to be fortified by God's grace, and to take shape before they are shared. This doesn't mean you walk through life suspicious of everyone around you. God will place people in your life who are meant to walk with you, encourage you, and hold you accountable. But those people are revealed through prayer, discernment, and time. Not everyone who claps for you is cheering for you, and not everyone who listens to you is rooting for your success. By exercising discernment, you can identify the voices that are aligned with God's purpose for your life and filter out the ones that aren't. When you protect your purpose from envy and misalignment, you also protect your peace. You free yourself from the emotional drain of explaining, defending, or justifying your journey. You allow God to be your shield, your defender, and your source of validation. Psalm 62 verses 5 to 6 says, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from Him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved." When God is your foundation, nothing and no one can shake you. If you're ready to shield your purpose from envy and negativity, comment pearls below. Let this be your declaration that you will no longer cast your sacred dreams before those who cannot honor them. Instead, you will trust God to guide you, protect you, and align you with the people and opportunities meant for your journey. The fourth sign is trust divine timing. Trusting divine timing is one of the hardest lessons for the chosen ones, but it is also one of the most rewarding. It requires surrendering your own agenda and aligning with God's perfect plan. This is not about waiting passively. It's about active trust, knowing that every step of the journey is preparing you for the appointed time. Rushing to reveal your purpose, or trying to force things before they're ready, is like digging up seeds before they've had the chance to take root and grow. Just because you don't see progress on the surface doesn't mean God isn't working beneath it. God's timing is not just about when something happens, it's about how, why, and under what circumstances. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 captures this beautifully. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. This verse reminds us that God's promises are never late, even if they feel delayed to us. The fulfillment of your purpose is set for a specific moment, one that will reveal His glory in a way that no rush timeline ever could. Think of the story of David. Anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, David didn't ascend to the throne immediately. He had to wait, and in that waiting, God prepared him. David faced battles, built relationships, and learned leadership, all of which refined him for his destiny. If David had tried to seize the throne prematurely, he would have missed the lessons that only the waiting season could teach. Sometimes the waiting isn't about the promise itself. It's about what God is building in you so that you can carry the weight of that promise when it arrives. The challenge of trusting divine timing lies in our human desire for control. We live in a world that celebrates speed, instant gratification, and immediate results. Social media highlights the success stories of others, making it easy to feel like you're falling behind. But comparison is a trap. Your timeline is unique because your purpose is unique. Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9 reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." God's perspective is eternal, and His timing takes into account every factor we cannot see. Waiting doesn't mean inactivity. It means preparation. It means trusting that even in the moments of stillness, God is working on your behalf. Consider the farmer who plants seeds. He doesn't dig them up every day to check if they've sprouted. He waters them, tends the soil, and trusts the process. In the same way, your purpose is being nurtured by God. Every prayer, every act of obedience, and every step of faith is like watering the soil. Trust that the harvest will come, but only when the time is right. Trusting divine timing also means resisting the temptation to take shortcuts. When you rush ahead of God, you risk stepping outside of His protection and provision. Abraham and Sarah experienced this when they tried to fulfill God's promise of a child on their own terms by having Abraham conceive a child with Hagar, Genesis 16. While their intentions may have been rooted in impatience rather than rebellion, the result was unnecessary conflict and heartache. God's promise was still fulfilled in Isaac, but their decision to rush His timing brought complications that could have been avoided. The lesson here is clear: wait for God's plan, because His way is always best. This concept of divine timing also ties into the people who are meant to witness your success. Not everyone is ready to see what God is doing in your life, and sometimes He withholds the full manifestation of your purpose until the right people are in place. Jesus Himself understood this principle. Throughout His ministry, there were times when He performed miracles in secret or told those He healed not to speak of it yet. In John 7 verse 6, He said, "My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready." Jesus moved according to God's timeline, not the demands of those around Him. If you're committed to waiting on God's perfect plan, comment timing. This is your decision to trust that the one who planted the vision in your heart will bring it to fulfillment at exactly the right time. The final sign is perhaps the most personal and sacred of all. It's the ultimate reason why God is calling you to stop sharing your secrets and guard your heart. Stay with me, because this one will resonate deeply. The final sign is protect your vulnerabilities. Protecting your vulnerabilities is not just about safeguarding yourself. It's about honoring the sacred space where God works most intimately in your life. Vulnerability is a gift, a place where true transformation happens, but it is also fragile. When you share your struggles, fears, or plans with the wrong people, you expose this sacred space to judgment, misunderstanding, and spiritual interference. God calls us to be wise stewards of our hearts and to protect the areas of our lives where He is planting seeds of purpose and growth. Proverbs 4 verse 23 says it clearly, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Your heart is the wellspring of your purpose, and not everyone is equipped to honor what flows from it. Think of your vulnerabilities as a garden. In this space, God is planting dreams, healing wounds, and nurturing your faith. But like any garden, it requires protection. Imagine leaving your garden unguarded, allowing anyone to walk through it. Some might admire the beauty, but others may trample the flowers, pull up the roots, or leave behind weeds. This is what happens when you share your innermost struggles and fears with people who lack the spiritual maturity to handle them. It's not about being distrustful, it's about being discerning. In the Bible, we see the power of protecting vulnerabilities through the story of Nehemiah. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he didn't immediately share his plans with everyone. Instead, he kept his mission between himself, God, and a select few until the time was right. In Nehemiah 2 verse 12, he says, "And I arose in the night, I and some few men with me. Neither told I any man what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem." By moving with discretion, Nehemiah was able to protect the work God had called him to do from opposition, ridicule, and sabotage until the foundation was secure. His story is a powerful reminder that your vulnerabilities and plans need to be shielded from premature exposure. One of the greatest challenges in protecting your vulnerabilities is the temptation to seek validation. When you're struggling or working toward a dream, it's natural to want reassurance from others. But not everyone is equipped to see what God is doing in your life. Some may offer surface-level encouragement, while others may unintentionally sow seeds of doubt. The truth is, your validation should come from God, not people. Isaiah 41 verse 10 says, "Fear thou not, for I am with thee, be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." Trust that God sees your struggles, and his affirmation is all you need. Vulnerability, when shared with the right people, can lead to powerful connections and growth. But when shared with the wrong people, it can drain your energy and leave you feeling exposed. Jesus himself understood the importance of discernment. While he ministered to the multitudes, he often withdrew with his inner circle of disciples to share his deepest thoughts and plans. Even among the 12, he shared the most sacred moments, like the Transfiguration, with only Peter, James, and John. Mark 9 verses 2-9. This wasn't favoritism, it was wisdom. Jesus knew that not everyone could handle or fully grasp the weight of what he carried. In our lives, discernment about who we share with is equally critical. Ask yourself, are the people I'm confiding in aligned with God's purpose for my life? Do they honor my journey, or do they diminish it with skepticism, envy, or distraction? Sometimes the people closest to us, friends, family, or co-workers, may not understand the depth of what God is doing in us. It's not their fault. They simply haven't been given the same vision. This is why Matthew 7 verse 6 warns, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine." Your vulnerabilities are pearls, precious and sacred. Don't cast them before those who cannot value them. Protecting your vulnerabilities also means setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are gates to ensure that what comes in and out aligns with God's will for your life. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you create space for God to work without interference. This doesn't mean you never share. It means you wait for the right time and the right audience. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 7 reminds us, "A time to keep silence, and a time to speak." When you allow God to guide you, he will show you when and with whom to share. On a personal level, protecting your vulnerabilities can feel isolating, especially if you're used to being open with others. But remember, solitude with God is not the same as loneliness. In those quiet moments, he strengthens you, equips you, and prepares you for what's ahead. Think of Elijah, who retreated to the wilderness when he was overwhelmed and vulnerable. 1 Kings 19 verses 3-8. In that place of solitude, God ministered to him, providing rest, sustenance, and clarity. Sometimes the most profound growth happens in the stillness of being alone with God. Protecting your vulnerabilities is not just about avoiding harm. It's about preserving the sacred work God is doing in your life. When you guard your heart, you create a space where his voice can be heard above the noise. You allow him to heal your wounds, refine your character, and build your faith without interference. This sacred space becomes the foundation for everything He has called you to do. It's not just about you. It's about the impact your life will have on others. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you protect the legacy God is building through you. If you're ready to guard your heart and honor God's calling, comment heart below. Let this be your commitment to protect the sacred work He is doing in your life and to move forward with wisdom and discernment. Stay tuned, because this journey doesn't end here. There's so much more to explore about walking in alignment with God's purpose and living out the calling He has placed on your life. So watch the next video linked in the description below to uncover the hidden truth. Here's the takeaway. If you're one of the chosen ones, stop sharing your secrets. Guard your heart, trust God's timing, and protect the sacred work He's doing in your life. Comment, "I'm chosen," if this message resonated with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your journey is sacred. Let's walk it together. Until next time, stay blessed.